Yo guys, back with the 2911 podcast, man. Now it goes New Year. How the man them? Everyone good?
Yeah, man.
We're live, man. Hey, 2024, you're not good,
We're here, man. We're here.
Crazy.
As you can see, two missing.
Missing.
Bien broke his foot.
Yeah.
Naps.
Yeah.
Drunk.
I ain't seen that guy come since like last time we were in
July,
studio.
August?
Is it that long ago?
Cause it's January. Yeah, time.
In time.
Cause last time we were in studio was September.
Damn.
That's crazy.
We've held it up then.
September, crazy.
We've held
Crazy.
it up in terms of
Yeah.
episodes. Wow.
September.
So, yeah. Send your prayers to Bien, innit? Healing from his ankle injury.
He thought he was a footballer.
He thought he was a footballer. Forgot he was a podcaster.
He got sent back. He got
Hey.
sent back from that one.
It's a new year. How did you man spend New Year? Was it crossover or jambaz? Or both?
I don't know. Jambaz, bro. I lied. Crossover. But how did I spend New Year's Eve? We had two services because it was a Sunday, innit?
Yeah,
two
it was
services.
weird.
Two
Sunday.
services, bro. I remember when I first heard it was two services, I was like, bro,
Why?
10:30 to 1,
Yeah.
1:30, then 8:30 to 12:30.
Chat.
Like,
8:30 to
it's calming it because there was a long gap in between, so I went home and slept in that bar.
Yeah.
Broski, like,
Do you have to what's it called? Set everything up all over again?
yeah.
Oh,
Like, no. Second time round, it was set up already.
Oh,
So
okay.
just left it like that from the
Yeah,
first.
Okay.
service.
Yeah.
But first time round, I had to set up.
Yeah.
And obviously it's early morning as well.
Yeah.
Like for the past, like I don't know, maybe like 3 months, I've been going in extra early to actually set up.
properly.
Because before I was moving a bit,
Both.
yeah, like I'd go in at the right time innit,
Yeah.
but it'd already be set up.
Yeah,
I wouldn't really help.
yeah.
But I told myself that like help them innit.
Yeah, why not?
Especially because I know everything that's going on. So it's like
So what happened in that evening service? Because that's
cool.
like,
So first service was a normal service.
Standard
It's
Sunday,
like, just
yeah.
like a, praise and worship, Bible study, preaching. But the preaching wasn't like long as it
that
usually
normal,
is.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it was a shorter preaching, and then the second service was more prayer.
is it?
Kinda
Yeah,
like
it makes sense. Yeah.
bare prayer, bro.
Crossover is always prayer and worship.
Bare
And
prayer.
worship.
Yeah, bare prayer, and then like little exhortations from
Yeah.
like 3 people. I gave a little setting,
Certain.
and then worship, obviously like praise,
Praise,
getting into the
Thanksgiving,
new year.
yeah.
I was saying earlier, flipping, they nearly missed the countdown, bro.
Is it?
Yeah, because so obviously my dad's preaching and that, not preaching, but he's like, he can tell that it's coming up to 12.
Yeah.
But he's better old school, so he just looks at the clock, and the clock isn't even like what's it, analog?
Yeah.
Is it analog and what's the other one? Digital.
Digital. Yeah.
So the clock isn't digital, so you can't actually tell if it's like
it's on the-
11:59 or 11:57.
Yeah. You can only estimate.
You can estimate that,
yeah.
okay, cool, maybe it's 11:54, for example. So he can tell that, okay, cool, we have 5 minutes left. But I'm looking at the actual like clock, actual on my phone and that, and saying we have 2 minutes left. And I already put up like the countdown, countdown.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, yeah, cool, like we have 2 minutes left. My man's there talking as if we have 5 minutes. He even said, oh, we have 5 minutes left, guys, whatever. Nah, we don't. So then, what's it called? So then he's talking, whatever. Then because I knew that he wasn't actually gonna because the clock was wrong. So I just put on the timer so that he knows that, yo, you have like a minute and a half left.
Yeah.
Then he's looked at it and then he's changed his tone a bit, and then it kind of went into a little
Celebrations
and then
and
10, 9, 8. You know how they do, bro.
Crossover, bro. Axe. Crossover. Jambaz.
Neither.
Neither.
What were you on?
I think this year was a weird one for me because I had to adjust compared to the year before, which is now 2022. I was in Ghana, innit? And when we were in Ghana,
You were Jambaz in Ghana,
bro.
I put the 2 in 1.
you went service and then you went
Jambaz.
Yeah. So we did it in Ghana, and I can't lie, I remember that one. That one was a lot because obviously none of the man knew about the church. We don't go Ghana.
Is it the spooky one?
Not my place to say, but let's just say it was a bit, away from what my norm is, innit? Good celebration, etc. So obviously, when it came to this year now, you know, now in Birmingham, new church and etc., I'm seeing what times are the service? And I'm seeing the services are only normal time, which is 11:15 to 12:45. So I was a bit like, so what am I going to do this New Year's? And
so they didn't do crossover.
They didn't crossover.
They do crossover still.
No, bare churches don't do crossover.
Is it?
Yeah, bare churches.
Is it like a
I think it's more of I genuinely think it's more of an African thing.
Swear.
Yeah. Because for example, Hillsong, they don't do crossover.
Is it?
All right,
Elam do crossover though. 11 to 12.
Yeah.
That's my first ever hearing this shit.
Yeah.
It's weird because and the things as well, I didn't want to just go to. I was thinking, but I didn't want to go to like a random church. I did that before. There was one time I went to a random church innit, walked in now, and I thought it was my normal service time back when I was back in London innit. Just come, it was one Jamal church. I was thinking, wait, what's this? This is not what I've like. I weren't used to the church at all innit. So I was like, cool. Not gonna go out of my way to force it or anything like that. Let me just use the time for family. I was in Ghana the year before, innit? So there, my family now. My mum, God knows where she was in it. She weren't in the house and etc. So I was just there, my sisters with someone else. But
easy, man.
But yeah, man, literally just used the time. Spent good quality time with them. Play like board games. We did the countdown together. We did a prayer together, all of us. And we're just doing, you know what they do? Them vision boards, innit?
Oh yeah, vision boards. Hey,
that's such a
vision boards,
bro.
Vision boards.
Bro, that my vision boards
I've seen them more than my brother, bro. Seen so many vision boards, bro.
Pinterest, I'm hearing Canva, I'm hearing I can't.
Bro.
What is it? I don't really understand.
So basically, what you got to do is post all so it's like a visual goal board, innit?
Yeah.
So anything that you want to achieve in the new year, new me type of thing, you put it on the board, innit?
Would you pray over it and that?
Yeah, some people do. Some people do it. I know some people like they take their vision boards like seriously. Like, I know a couple people they'll be fasting that week.
Yeah,
and then
frame it.
They'll get some vision from God and then create their vision board. So, but some people just put like anything like
bro,
you see that picture of Young Thug with the money and his booth and they're like eating the money with ex booth. Some people just put anything on there. But some people are very proper serious about their vision board, serious and make it a whole night and all of that. Yeah.
Like with me, I'm not really the creative sort, innit? It was more so the others that put me on type of thing. So I didn't really do the premeditation about it or pray over it as much, because I was like, this is something I'm kind of used to, innit? But we just spent some time doing that, and we just spent, like BBC when they do the countdown, innit? For some reason, BBC this year, I don't know if I had it, but they were lagging. So it came to 12:02, still no countdown, no fireworks. I'm thinking, what's going on? I don't know, it was some show that was on, so I was thinking, that kind of delayed. But I think it was just good, going in with the family, the sisters, just setting the year right. You know what I'm saying? But
I hear it.
Been mine.
What about you?
Yeah, I was just I was telling the man before, I ain't been crossover since 2016, since I changed church. So I was just at home with family. Normally just maybe from 11 to maybe 12, maybe 12:30, we just come downstairs, worship, pray, then talk as a family what we're trying to achieve this year, each and every single one of us, maybe some words for the family and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I did this year. That's pretty much I do it every year. Sometimes I miss crossover, but sometimes I deep sometimes I feel like there's a crossover hype a bit. You get what I mean? I feel like there's a crossover hype in the sense that I feel like some people feel like if you have to go crossover, and if you don't go crossover, you're not entering the new year with Jesus. I don't really get that. Crossover is good. I don't have anything against it, but I think some people sometimes are a bit too edgy. I even saw on TikTok before the new year, maybe weeks before, people, when people start putting quotes on Instagram I'm gonna go into the new year in church, I'll be safe kind of thing. Throwing shade at people who don't go to church for crossover or somebody, I think somebody put on Twitter, you man enter the new year in a nightclub. I'm entering the new year with some worship or whatever. I'll be safe kind of thing, and then all of that stuff. Obviously, I don't know. What do you man think? Do you think it's wrong as a Christian anyway to enter the new year in a club? In a club motive. You don't go to church, you go motive.
There's no Bible verse that says it's a sin, innit?
Yeah.
But I just think it's wise to enter your new year like just any venture really with God. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the same way like if you're starting a new business, you're about to start school, uni, job, you're gonna say, God, like lead me into this year, like I mean lead me into this job or lead me into whatever. Same way I feel like with a new year, even though a new year, bro, like the way I felt December the 31st and January the 1st was exactly the same. Yeah. But I guess it's a new thing, innit?
You think you can do both?
What, Jambaz and
yeah, because like go church. Because church finishes at 12, innit? Most people, maybe maybe runs over.
I can't lie. I saw one church finish at like 5:30.
Yeah. My old church we used to finish at 5.
Yeah, like 5:30, bro.
Yeah. Damn. You know
what? And they started at like 9 or 8.
My old church service was 10 p.m. to 5.
I remember I used to sleep though.
10 p.m. to 5.
I was like 9.
Yeah, I was like
9, 10, bro. Because I can't lie, I used to dread going crossover.
Crossover, bro. I used to hate it.
I remember like, and we used to go to 2 churches as well. So we'd go to the first one because the second one finishes at 5. We'd go to the first one, which finishes around like
12.
I think we'd cross over with one church, then go to the next one. Which is I didn't understand. like what? Hey. So we'd cross over with one, finish at 12, and they were both in East. And if you know like Forest Gate and Ilford, that long road. That long road. So we just go on that long road to the other one in Ilford, and then bro, like just stay there till 5, bro.
Such a drag, bro.
And I'm like 10 years old. So obviously, man, I'll just be tired.
Yeah, I'll dread it. But you know, even when I was young, like, I used to like crossover, but like for example, like from 10 to 12 or 10 to 1, it was calm because crossover is special as well. Like you see, when you're younger, you probably don't want to be listening to the word for like an hour or anything like. But crossover was special. Like the word was maybe like 30 minutes.
Yeah, not too much.
But there was praise and worship. There was like we used to have like maybe people do like dance, you know, there's just different things. Then maybe the kids ministry will do a little
like a celebration.
Yeah, it'll be a proper. So from 10 to 1 it'll be calm. But then from 1 to 5, bro, it's pretty much prayer, you know. Obviously, I'm a kid, I'm baff, bro. After 10 minutes, I'm out.
From 1 to 5, it's prayer, bro.
It's prayer.
That's what I'm saying. So, I remember one year when I went to some church, I didn't even know about it. It's one Caribbean church. After the celebrations, I thought, everyone go home. Then prayer. Obviously, I was young, innit? Call me a bad man, but I just said, I can't do this. So
but the thing is, the church, I don't know, obviously, when I was a kid, I don't really know, but I don't know if the way it looked like the 1 to 5 prayer was obviously not compulsory, no one's holding you back, but it looked like proper timetable. It wasn't like spontaneous prayer that's ending at it looked like, bro, we're praying from 1 to 5. Like, straight.
No, because I feel like, bro, as I said, bro, that crossover service used to be 8:30 till 5 a.m, bro.
I don't know how you
And I used to think, what?
Why?
So I remember when I was younger, not that I had an agenda against crossover, but I didn't like it. Because I was just thinking,
why are we here?
And obviously, like back then, as we keep saying, we were young, innit? So it's like, I don't look at God the way I look at him now, innit? I don't look at prayer the way I look at it now. I don't look at church the way I look at it now.
Definitely.
So I just used to think, what a drag. Would I still do that now?
Nah, I think 85 is such a drag.
I can't.
It's such a drag. I don't mind, like, let's just say, like it was 8. Even 8 is a lot.
Even
my old 10 to 1, I could do a 10 to 1 because that's 3 hours. No, wait, is that 3 hours?
Yeah. And time will go quick.
I could do that.
Stuff going.
And if it was like 1 to 5, if you want to pray, calm. Maybe I would be there. But if it's 10 to 5,
it's
like
too much, man. Like
you not have to be there, but you know, people are looking at you a bit weird if you're leaving kind of I don't think I could do 10 to 5. Bro, that's long, bro.
It's a long
attention span. Our attention span ain't.
Because you know what it is as well. You want to go in the new year. You know, obviously, no disrespect to churches that do that, innit? But you want to go in the new year, fresh, motivated, ready. And sometimes, like, I've been in them services where it ends at. I think I went to one where I was young, ended at about 6. Straight, boom, 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 boom. I ended up sleeping in it. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's key though, like what you said about starting that new year in church, because I've done the best of both worlds, the crossover and the Jambaz. And like one thing I deeped, you gotta always, especially when you're going to the new year, you gotta always remember the things you gotta fall back on as you're entering. Same way you're entering new season, you're entering new year, and etc. Is them moments you gotta be like, raw, how much time did I put into this to actually make me, better or make me more qualified to go into the new year fresh, innit? But I can't lie, starting it when I went Ghana, did a crossover. And then the Jambaz, I remember I was so upset that day because the party weren't even banging. So it's like I'm starting the new year, I'm coming home vexed. It's like, wait, what? Did I miss something? But all jokes aside from that, I think it's good just to at least dedicate, if it's the eve or even today, just to him, just to be like, you know what, God, regardless of what happens this year, if I put 1,000 vision boards, if I've got 1,000 goals, whatever it is, I made it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but I'm not with the, you know, when people put on the social media, 2023, I'm lucky to be made it out of here. I'm not, you know, I'm not one to post that or, you know.
Yeah, like, I do. Back to your question about like, do you think you can do best of both? Again, like, there's no like you can't or you can. But I do think that as a Christian, it is wise to just do one, innit? And the one being just leading it with God. Not even trying to be all like, what's the word? What's that word? When you're legal, not legalism. I'm not trying to do legalism, but I just think that the way a New Year's a lot, innit? Like, none of us know what is going to happen in 2024. None of us knew, bro, when COVID hit in 2020, bro. None of us went into 2020 thinking, COVID, So in that sense, I just feel like when we go into, I think that's why crossover becomes such a big thing. Which rightly so, I do hear it. Like, whether you do it intimately, whether you go to church and do it, I just feel that it is important to, as Christians especially, to lead it with God. We always say, God first. That is the number. That's you showing that, yo, God, I'm giving you my ear.
I've got a question for you, man. Yeah, because like, say for instance, you see on the social media of the crossovers, do you feel like it's become commercialized?
I don't commercialize. It's a vibe, innit? I think some people are going there for a vibe, innit? Obviously, you don't know anyone's intentions, innit? And I can't lie. I feel like however you find yourself in church, even if you're going there for a vibe, I think it's still good. You get what I mean? You're still in a good place. You know, God. Obviously, I know God is everywhere, but this is a place where, you know, God can really speak. You know, you're in that atmosphere. Whether you're going there to just vibe, and maybe this is your jambaz or whatever, like, I feel like it's calm personally. Like, whatever your intentions are, like, I agree with you, man. Like, I think you should start off with like you said, whether it's intimately, whether it's I think that's the thing. Like, I think it can be intimate. Do you get what I mean? I'm not even just saying that because that's what I do, because I like crossover, like. And I probably will go into crossover like soon. It's not like I have anything against it, but it's just the way we've always done things as a family. And I think I think family is really important. I feel like sometimes how to explain it? I feel like sometimes even as a kid, like sometimes you neglect family not for spiritual reasons, but like, for example, last year, like, I really wanted to go crossover. I really wanted to go crossover last year, but it's one of them unspoken things, like we got to start it as a family kind of thing. And I was like, what crossover? Like, I want to start the year with church and with God.
And the thing is, even you lot starting as a family, you are starting with God.
Do you get what I mean?
You guys are going into it,
praying it together. Do you get what I mean?
That's why I said that, like, intimately or going to church. Like, there's no like, if you don't cross over at church, you've done something. But not necessarily, innit? Like, but I just think that as a Christian, you should cross over. However you cross over with God, innit?
You can't cross over with God in the Jambazin, bro.
Whoa, you're Jambazin to your boy in Shayo, and then you're telling God, yo, like, not saying, but you can do what you want, innit?
To add to your point, I feel like this year I understood the essence of, you know, having that intimacy with family as well. Because I feel like in the previous years, there's always been like a sub excuse if it's a jambaz or is it you know, link up with someone else and etc. And it's like sometimes I've misplaced that in the previous years, but just spending time with my sisters, my loved ones, it kind of showed the essence that like, you know, not only am I going into this year for myself, but I'm going in with the people that God's placed in my life already. You know what I'm saying? Even like doing like catch-ups with the man them or prayer calls with the man them, see how everyone's doing. It's like you're doing that crossover with them. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's the importance of like having that moment, having that time away. I don't know, jambaz, people can still cross over with people and with jambaz, innit? Let's just say that. But I think it's the essence when it comes to like crossover. Like, you're crossing over not only for yourself for the new year, but with like other people that, you know, helped you in the journey, that can help you along the way.
Yeah, man, cause like, I just think that it's just, I keep using wise because like there's no like,
there's no right or wrong. But
it's just wise to do it with God, because as we said earlier, like, you don't know what the year is going to hold. And as I said, a lot of people be like, January, like, it will be like December the 6th. They'll be like, January 1st, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that. Why don't you change it December the 7th? Cool. But so it's not necessarily that the January the 1st is the reason why you have to cross over. But it's just more like you're stepping into a new into a new season, innit? And the same way as I used the example of like when we're going for jobs, when we're going for just anything in general, we always say, "Oh God, like guide me." So why don't we do it the same way with a whole year, where you're going to ask for more opportunities in the year? You haven't crossed over with God, but then now you're in the year, you're telling God, help me with this, but you weren't thinking about it. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like definitely. It's more to do with like
I feel like it's like a mindset kind of thing. It's always the same way that churches start a new year, 21 days prayer and fasting. It's preparing your mind kind of thing for the new year kind of thing. With a new year, like I always find like I feel like I don't know if it's just me, but I'm never really excited for a new year personally. Not like obviously I'm grateful for a new year. Like I'm great. I think that's what I was trying to find. I was trying to figure out on 31st. Like I always like reflect on my emotions that day. Like I'm never really excited for a new year, but I'm grateful for a new year. You know, some people are waiting for the new year. Like can't wait till the new year comes. All that kind of stuff. Like I don't know why. That's never really been me. Like it's not that I'm worried about anything. It's more so I don't know. It's just like I don't want to say another day, but it's like. It's just another year. Do you get what I mean?
I hear where you're coming from as well, because I used to think that until this year, but the only reason why I did that, which I guess we'll probably speak later on, is probably about how the previous year experiences were. I feel like that's the one thing that I started to look like, like going into the new year, I started to value it a lot more, because I can't lie, same way that you were thinking, I was thinking the same thing. Like on social media, on New Year, new me, this stuff, I thought it was bongos. I was thinking, why are you wasting your time? And I thought that just another day. And maybe I don't want to sound like negative, because obviously people can aspire, people could dream, and it's a motivational push, innit? But I just felt back then it was like, you know, at the end of the day, stuff is not gonna click like that. There's so many things that's gonna help along your way. I feel like the way it was like shown on socials, or like with even people that I know, it was like, oh yeah, as soon as that day comes,
everything.
That's what I was saying, bro.
Come on now.
Why don't you just start it now?
Exactly. That's why I thought I don't want to say a new year is very important. Like especially my thing is especially gratitude, like because God has actually brought you through a whole year healthy. You know, you've gone through a year. It's a crazy thing to make a year, and like I know some people put that quote that Axel saying is a bit cringe, like like I can't believe I made it through a new year, all that kind of stuff. Like it's not easy and all that stuff. But generally, it's actually not easy. Like like you said, COVID came out of nowhere. A lot of people just died. Not expecting death, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So like things like to make a whole new year is a big thing. But for me, like especially when like what you said, like some people get to a new year, and I guess I'll open up as more of a question, because I feel like a new year is new in it, but it's like if you're doing the same things as last year, it's pretty much still. Obviously, it's a new year, but it's pretty much going to be the same thing. Because I don't know, I don't know if it's. I feel like some people have this mindset like when it hits a new year, everything is new. Do you get what I mean? But if you're still carrying old mindsets, old behavior, and I don't know if I'm sounding like a hater in it, but like, even I think about myself, bro. Like it's a new year, thank God. But like just because something is new, doesn't mean that your experience of it will be new if you're doing pretty much all the same things. You get what I mean? Like so. Thank God for a new year, innit? Like, I don't sound like a hater, innit? I don't sound like a hater or miserable, but it's just like I don't know.
Is everything alright, bro?
Nah. You gotta get something out of your chest.
No. I'm always excited for a new year in terms of like trusting God to do some new things and like seeing what He can do in a year. Because like for me, 2023 was like crazy in terms of like all the things that I wouldn't have expected the way 2023 went to go. But I'm just thinking like when I see, especially when I look at socials, a lot of people are excited for a new year, and I've just never felt that way. So I just kind of, and I was just kind of just thinking, is it just me? Like, am I just moving miserable or whatever? Like on the day, I'm more excited because I know I'm just going to be spending time with my family. On New Year's, we have like a family party and everything. We eat good food. Like I'm excited for the day, but for the year, I'm just like, oh yeah, bring it on. By God's grace, it will be a great year, but.
You know what it is here?
You know how people are excited for Christmas? Like they're waking up like, I can't wait for Christmas. Some people feel the same way about New Year's. I just don't.
Do you know what it is as well? Yeah, because like I was actually thinking about this, and I was thinking like, what is the importance of just one day moving into the new year, 2024 in this case, innit? And I feel like people expect the miracle, but if people are not careful, it can lead to like a falsified miracle. So like what that means is like cool, because now a certain point has happened in your life, they're like cool, boom, instantly it's now clicking onto my journey. But then when you think about it, there's got to be moments throughout your journey, especially throughout your Christian life, whereby it's like cool, God may reveal something to you, and in your quote unquote life you feel like that's the miracle, and you feel like everything's now patterned in that sense, innit? Whereas but then you forget the necessary steps to actually get to that place to sustain it. And I feel like that's the danger of like what has been shown, like even like through my Christian journey as well. I've had that thing in the past where about, oh yeah, New Year straight away, boom, expect a miracle comes because of that date or because of that new 2024, 2023 and etc. But I feel like it kind of moves if we're dangerous or if we're not careful with it, moves the essence of still continuing that long marathon with God. Because I feel like some people have that type of perception that cool, I'm going to not brush but disregard what happened in the previous year because it's that one particular date. I'm now going to be that new person, that new this, and it kind of almost backtrack in a way that cool. Don't get twisted, people in the reflections are going to acknowledge the year before, but it's like cool when they go to the new year now, it's like they kind of forget what God's done in the previous year. And I feel like people sometimes forget that what God done in the previous year, they need that for the new year. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. I feel like that's the important thing that we got to remember when it comes to going into the new year, that there's still a lot of teachings from the last year that will go into this new year, but doesn't really transform us or make us a new us. It's those things that God is bringing us from one to another that's going, and we got to remember that. You know what I'm saying? The date don't define us, it's what God that defines us. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. The t-shirt. But yeah, like I feel like I don't think I sound like a hater. I hear what you're saying in the sense of like, what's the word? It's another day, innit? But do you know what it is? I feel like it's because of the way that obviously time has been like constructed, didn't it? Like cool, we have days, we have months, so it allows you to track your progress, innit? So I guess in that sense, people track their progress, over a year. So like, cool, where was I this time last year? Cool. So because of that, I feel like that's why people get excited for a new year. But as you said, like, if you just go into this new year with the same mindset, same habits, same, that's why people make New Year's resolutions, innit? We'll talk about that a bit later, but like, New Year resolution to say, cool, this year I'm actually going to make more of an effort to do this or be more grateful, whatever. So in that sense, I hear it. But as you said, bro, if you come into a new year, January the 1st, whatever, and you're doing the exact same thing you were doing in December, that was breeding no results, it's not going to change anything. But if you come into the new year now with this vision board thing, and you come, this
guy might get hit for a female. Listen.
Just be easy, man. Hey. Your vision boards, man. But yeah, if you come into this new year with your vision boards, with your New Year's resolutions, nothing wrong with it. But generally, firstly, commit to God, because as we always say, like, you know, a man plans his ways. I like that verse a lot. A man plans his way, but the Lord directs our steps. And I always talk about, as Christians, in a way, we have to make loose plans. Like, make a plan in it, because you need direction, but make loose plans because God needs to work through that plan. Don't make a fixed plan thinking like, oh, I need to do this by this, by that, because you don't know. That's why it's important for us to also cross over with God, because you're submitting your plan to him, and so that he can actually do what he needs to do with it. Because we think that, cool, for me, I might have resolutions that I want to do this by this year, I want to do that by this year, but God knows that, by the time you want to do this, I want you to do this instead. But then you can come back and do this. So if you submit to God, as we always know, his plan for us is perfect, is pleasing, and is good. So if we submit to him, he will do what he has to do. But going back to it, like, if you don't change your habits, if you don't actually commit to actually make more discipline, more focus, more consistency, cutting out certain things, bringing in certain things, nothing's gonna change, bro. And that's why I do hear it in the sense of like, if you're just coming on new year, new me, but you're gonna do the same thing, it's not really a new year. It's just a continuation. You know what I'm saying? They're still stuck in 2023, bro. But I feel like the reason why people like to start afresh in the new year is because of the construct of like, cool, I was here, and I hear it, because I feel like it is good, and sometimes it's a good reset in your mind as well. Just to say, cool, you know what? Definitely. That year wasn't that great, but cool, I'm going to actually purpose in my heart, I'm going to give it to God this time. I'm going to actually submit whatever I need to submit to God. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to be less lazy. I'm going to be more disciplined. So now, January the 1st, at least I have something to track by. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like also, it gives us an understanding of being very, very grateful. As you one thing that I've been like pondering on the past few days is just like thankfulness. You know, Thanksgiving, and you know, and I feel like a new year, it allows you to be thankful.
Nah, definitely.
Way more thankful.
Way
because
more.
it allows you to see that cool. December the 31st, January the 1st. Damn, where was I last year? What's happened this year? It goes back to that time, the construct of time where it allows you to like track. Cool. In a year, this is what happened. How did God move? How did God not move the way that I wanted him to move? But how did it turn out? You know, in a better way, because it always turns out in a better way. It might not look like it you know, at first, but it always will. So you know, new year, new me, whatever. You know that LaMelo meme. New year, new me, but the same me. You get it, like, bro. So it goes back to that, bro. They're just like, yo, like, yeah, new year, new you, but actually put things in place and don't just say it for the sake of saying it. And another thing, if you're gonna start well, finish well as well. Like, you're gonna start January well. You go to the gym, you start the gym. Ooh, February comes, you start slacking up. By the time it's June, you've stopped going. Don't do that to yourself. Like, you'd rather like set you cool. I'm gonna go to the gym once a week.
Yeah,
start
realistic
that.
goals.
Realistic
you
goals.
It's very
like,
good what you said as well, yeah. Because some people may have that perception that when you reach that December, or it's like, oh, you see your goals list from what you made at the start of the year. Oh, I didn't achieve that. But I feel like the importance of, you know, finishing good is that knowing that at least you tried your best in all possible areas at the best time, especially in the season that you're going through with throughout the year. And I feel like that's very, very key. That, you know, for anyone everyone that's going into the new year, to always remember that everyone has goals. And I remember I know people always have their critics, but I was on LinkedIn, innit? And I was going through LinkedIn like, 2023
2023 LinkedIn reps.
I did this, but they didn't see this. I saw this, but they didn't see me behind closed doors doing this. I can't lie, the amount I saw, even on my way here, I wanted to delete LinkedIn. I said, this is too much, innit? But I think the importance of that is that, you know, you gotta understand that though you are going to be running a race for this so-called year that you're now coming across, that finishing it well is also understanding that, yes, I tried. You know, yes, I was able to try something different, or yes, I was able to give it a go. And I feel like the importance of that is that when it comes to the finishing line, you got to ask yourself, is God there the same way it was at the start with me? And I feel like that would be a good testament of how far you've actually gone this year, rather than the specific goals that you've listed. Is God there at the start the same way he was there at the end for me? And then take it.
I think the loose goals, not loose, but realistic goals is important because it gives you the ability to like judge yourself accurately. Do you get what I mean? Because like maybe you gave yourself some dumb goal and you failed, and you might feel like a bit of a failure, but really and truly the goal was just a drag. Do you get what I mean? I know some people do the Bible in a year thing, which is calm. It's not really a drag, to be fair. A lot of people do it, but you know, some people put themselves on really hard goals, don't do it, and then they're really hard on themselves. So it's important, like I was saying, that I think just setting those realistic goals and then just adjusting them throughout the year.
Yeah,
you know, one, like you said, just using the gym example. I'm gonna go gym once a week. Cool. Maybe you've got that.
Now twice.
I'm gonna
now 3 times. Instead of it being 4 times a week,
straight away.
And then all of a sudden you go back to 1. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I can't lie, the straight drop is like a lot of success is built on consistency, bro.
No, definitely.
Do you know what I'm saying? Definitely. Like, if you just stay consistent at something for a sustained period of time, you might not get the success that you actually want in terms of like the goal that you've set, but you will get some kind of success. Do you know what I'm saying? And even in that success, like, you will learn things, or certain things will be built in you that wouldn't have happened if you weren't consistent. Because a lot of people, as I said, like, don't start well and then finish like bad. Like, bro, if you want to start well, that's great, but make sure you finish well as well. Because it's better. I can't lie. The straight drop is it's better to start badly and finish well than to start well and finish bad.
No, definitely.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when Paul talks about, I finished the race, I ran the good race, I fought the good fight. He started terribly, bro. He was killing Christians and that, bro. But when he finished, bro, he fought a good fight. He'd stopped looking at the things behind him and pressing forward, Philippians 3:13, whatever. So that's why I say, when it comes to the new year, it goes back to what you said as well. Like, when we're setting these goals or we're setting these plans, and we want to firstly commit them to God. And that's why we talk about crossing over with God. Making sure that you're actually crossing over with God, not just I go to church to cross over, but genuinely crossing over with God. Like, you're cool. Maybe 2023 you weren't doing the greatest of God or whatever, but you've set in your mind. And I can't lie, you can set these goals, but genuinely stick to it. Like, be disciplined. Like discipline will take you very far. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's a boring phrase, but it's too true.
Bro, like, Hebrews chapter 12 verse 11. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 11. Discipline when you're going through it.
It's painful.
But it will produce a harvest of right living at one point. Do you know what I'm saying? In the same way, like even I was reading Proverbs chapter 1, like down somewhere. It was talking about how like fools despise self-discipline. Yeah. Like you don't want to be a fool, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Like self-discipline will take you so far because like all these goals and all these things that we might not have done in 2023, cool. Let it go. Now look forward, like step forward and actually like firstly commit to God. And you know that, you know, in your weakness, His grace abounds, you know, He's strong. You can boast in your weakness because He's there. Yeah. So when you've committed it to Him, I feel like you have more assurance, more calmness, more peace when you're going through trials whenever you're going through whatever you're going through, because you know that you've already committed to God. So whatever you're going through, you know that He's going to seek you through it. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas if you hadn't committed it to Him, now you're going through something and now you're thinking, oh, is God here with me? Is He not here with me? Oh God, like where are you? But if you commit to Him, even if you're going through trials, you're like, God is here with me. It's calm. You can actually believe His word, bro.
That foundation.
And He will never leave me. He will never forsake me. But if you haven't really committed to Him, it's like you hit a little bump in the road. Now you're thinking, God, is that you? Is this like a test? Is it? Yeah. But if you commit to Him, it's a trial. Calm. It will build endurance. It will build perseverance. You have that peace. You have that, you know, that oomph. Do you know what I'm saying? So you know that's what I say.
It's even funny that you say that, because I'm reading a book right now. It's called Many Are Called, and I had a conversation with someone about it yesterday, and there was one very, very good part that was said, and it was saying it doesn't matter if you're successful or unsuccessful in the life right now, but what matters for you to place God-given habits to help you into the path of success in the light that God wants you to be in His own image. And I love that, the way that, especially you know, the point that you mentioned before about having those levels of consistency been placed in your life. I feel like what's beautiful about that is that we got to realize, and we got to be real, you know, where we are right now. There's got to be so many things that we're going to be, you know, either struggling on, even stuff that we're good at, but our mindset towards things that we're good at is something that won't hold us on in the long run. But it's understanding that this is the position I'm at, and acknowledging, as you said, you know, that we're entering a new year where we can actually track our progress. You want to see if you're actually truly making a difference. But I think this one kind of leads on to like the next thing that I want to ask you guys then. Now that we finished obviously 2023, new year, 2024, what lessons or maybe key words would you say summarizes your 2023, and if there's any examples that kind of hit home for you?
I feel like when I was reflecting on 2023, I was talking about it with my girl.
Look at what you just dashed that in there, bro. Hey, you confident, bro. Speaking with Vim, bro.
I was talking about it with my girl the other day.
Yeah.
And it was just, the man smiled like this. And I was like, 2023 was crazy. Like, so many, like, I feel like God moved so much in my life. Like, I feel like he did incredible things. Like, I was saying, like, God, in 2023, I'd say, like, God was a God of all possibilities for me. Like, He just did some things where I was like, how do you kind of do that? And when I was reflecting on it with her, I was realizing, like, there was bare challenges that I went through in the year. Like, I deeped it, like, it was a challenging year, but God was so faithful. So it was good. Even in the times where it felt meaty, it was still a good year, if that makes sense, because I just thought like God was just really faithful throughout the year. Like He's really, all His promises to me, He held them up. And His grace, I feel like that's what it was for me. I think it was a year of grace and like understanding God's grace, how far it stretches, how deep it is, like just how necessary the grace of God is in the life of a Christian. Because like I remember I was talking about it with one of my pastors that Hebrews 4:16 says that God has made a provision for grace and for mercy and grace in our time of need, that we should come boldly to His throne because there we find grace and mercy in the time of need. And then I was deep in that. We had a conversation. I was like deep in that. The time of need is every day. Like it's not just like when you're in the trenches kind of thing, like, and I think like that's what I do subconsciously. I feel like I only look for the grace of God when I'm like deep in the trenches, if that makes sense. Like I feel like that's what it's for. But I realized last year, like it's for every single part of your day kind of thing. It's for every single part an aspect of life, because really and truly, there is nothing that you can actually do without the grace of God. So I feel like that's one of the biggest lessons I learned last year, just how important God's grace is, how it's so freely given to us, and how we should how we should seek it as well. Like, the grace of God is something. He gives it to us. Like, everyone has access to the grace of God, but it's something that you have to seek intentionally. And when you seek it intentionally, you realize how it works, if that makes sense. You start to realize the depth of it, because we all experience God's grace like every day, even without asking. But when you start like going to Him and seeking Him for His grace, then you see just how powerful it really is. And I feel like that's most of my year, was just asking God for His grace and seeing how it works for me, letting it teach me as well, because I think Titus 2 talks about how grace teaches us to deny ungodliness. It's not just for us to just do whatever we want, it's something that teaches us to, to follow His way, to discipline ourselves. That's what grace says. Grace teaches self-discipline, self-control. And I feel like was probably the biggest lesson, because I guess every year for everyone is, if not for the grace of God, where would I be? But like, I feel like this year I can actually see like, yeah, the grace of God, it was here, it was there, it was here, it was there, it was here, it was here. Like, I could actually list, like, on the 31st when I was praying, I was just thinking like, yeah, the grace of God showed up here, showed up there. Instead of just saying, oh yeah, God's grace kept me, I saw where it kept me. Do you get what I mean? And I feel like it's given me just a different insight of how to just what God's grace is, and to stop thinking I need to do things by myself. Like, whatever step I take in whatever venture, where God is leading you, to stop thinking that I have to have all the answers, I have to know everything. Like, because God's grace it's there for you. Like, it's actually there for you. Where God calls you, the places that He calls you, the places that He leads you, His grace also goes before you. So I think that was the key lesson, just the abundance of His grace, knowing that I don't really need to do so much by myself. I can actually just be weak, because as Paul says, like, when you're weak, you're actually strong. I feel like that's what I learned this year, like, just to stay weak, like, and that being weak isn't a knock on who I am. Everybody's weak, but admitting it before God gives you the access to grace. So yeah, I just say it was a year of grace.
What's that verse in Matthew? Like, blessed are the poor in spirit.
Poor in spirit.
For certain, wherever it says at the end of that. But straight jump in there. For me, it was more of a year of dependency, and because it was a hard year. Like, 2023 wasn't an easy year, man. Like, just a lot of had surgery. I actually had surgery. Now look at BN, bro. That guy is going through it as well. What's it called? I had surgery, first time ever, and I was down on that surgery bed for a bit too long. I'm saying, because bro, I was supposed to be out of there in like 2 hours. I was there for like 7. Yeah, like, it could have been a mad thing, but this is where it comes down to like the grace of God. That's why when you look back at a year, it goes back to what we were saying, like, you can be more thankful because you look at all of these things in a period of time, rather than it just being like, oh, just a random thing. You know what I'm saying? You look at all of these collective things that God has done in such a short time, in a period of time. You're like, oh wow, like, what a God we serve, innit? And like, so for me, it was just more about surgery, and a couple things didn't go the way I wanted them to go. And like, I just felt hard done by. I'll be real. Like, I felt like, God, like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? Like, I just thought I've done, not even like it's because it's a transactional thing where like, oh, I've done this, so you have to do this. But just more of like, I've done what I need to do. Like, why didn't it pattern? Like, do you know what I'm saying? And but then it allowed me to be more dependent on God, rather than, drawing away from Him and saying that, oh, you violated, or I feel like you violated, or, oh, I don't. Going back to His word, saying, cool, like, I trust you. I say I trust you. This is the time for me to trust you, because now it doesn't really look, pleasing. Doesn't really look, doesn't look gara. Like, it just looks like, right, like, where am I going? I'm just walking around, bro. I'm just walking around, running around, bro. I'm running around, and it kind of just taught me to be more dependent on Him. To have more faith in Him, because the straight drop is like, we say we have a lot of faith, and we know Hebrews 11:6 is impossible to please Him without it. But this is the time to have faith. It's easy to have faith when everything's going well. But faith is hard when it doesn't go the way you want it to go, but his word says otherwise. Now you have to trust that word, bro. Like, you don't trust your feelings, you don't trust the situation, you don't trust the circumstances. That's why I've kind of had to learn a lot this year, because for majority of the year, it hasn't been pleasant in my eyes, like the way that I wanted it to be. But I guess, like, it goes back to me saying that when we cross over with God, you've allowed him to interfere with your business. So you know that, cool, because I've allowed you to interfere in my business from the start, whatever's going on, I'm calm with it. Because I know that you have a plan. And you know, your word says that your plan is perfect. And if his plan is perfect, there is no fault in it, no blemish. So it's allowed me to be more calm in that sense of like, cool, it's not how I want it to look, it's not going the way I want it to go, wherever the situation was or is. And even now, it's still not going exactly where I want it to go, but because I've walked with him for a while now and I'm building more intimacy with him, it's allowed me to see that, cool, he works in these uncertainties. Like, you know, it's not always, God isn't just a God of like blatant, like it's just in your face all the time. Like, he's working in times when you don't think he's working. Like, you know, he's building a certain kind of resilience in you when you don't think he's built. Before you know it, like, a mad thing might happen and you're so calm about it. You're like, how comes I'm so calm?
You don't realize that the work is always going on in the background.
The work is always going on, and you don't know that, oh, like, when I went through that little period of that rut season, that drought, you know, that hardship, that's when, you know, he built in me this resilience, this trust, this dependency on him. So now when I go through this mad thing that the enemy's trying to throw my way, or, you know, as a trial, as a tribulation, I can stand firm because he's already prepared me. So in this sense, like, I don't look at all of these like things or the mishaps in 2023 as like, oh God, you violate. I don't look at it like that anymore. At first I was, in a way, like, I was thinking, oh man. But now I look at it like, you know what? I say I trust you. You shown me that you love me, bro. That one I don't have to question. You show me you love me. You show me that you care for me. You show me that I'm precious. You show me that, you know, I'm valuable. You've shown me I'm expensive, bro. You bought me at a mad price, bro. So if you've shown me all of this stuff, me going through all of this stuff is very minor in comparison to all of that stuff. So when I look at it in terms of like perspective and comparison and just his word and, you know, seeking him more. And one thing that I guess I needed to do better as well is just like, I was a bit lazy. Not lazy in the sense of like, I was doing the work, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't efficient. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, cool, I'd read my Bible, I'd pray and that, but I wasn't efficient in doing it because I could have done it much better. And if I'd done it much better, it leaves room for more things. But because I'm not efficient, I've like allowed a part of, you know, the day or the time to just go to waste. But I'm still doing what I need to do, so it looks okay. But it doesn't look, it's not as efficient because I know that, yo, like, you can get up earlier. You can commit more time to this. You can always be better in it. And that's one thing that and so I wasn't lazy in the sense of I wasn't doing anything, but lazy in the sense of like, I could have done more.
Just a bit sloppy.
It's just sloppy in possession, bro. Like Maney. Like they passed me the ball, bro. I'm letting it slip under my foot, bro. Like instead of being very on my, you know, whatever, I was just very sloppy, and that's why like for this year, like it goes back to you saying, bro, I can say, oh, I'm gonna be more disciplined this year, but if I don't put in the right things, it doesn't mean anything because I'll still be sloppy. With it, what not, pause. But edit team out for that one. You can edit team out for that one. That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, so like for me, it's just more about like just dependency and like, you know, just looking at God in a different light, in the sense of he genuinely is who he says he is. You know, his words say something. He is that, bro. He's not one of them man that, you know, he's flip flappy, he's one thing on one day. Jesus is the same yesterday, today and forever. Like, you know, that doesn't lie. You know, and if I say that I believe in him, believe in it without wavering, believe in it without, could it be true even if it doesn't look true? You know what I'm saying? That's what faith really is, you know, looking at it and saying that, you know what, like, he's the God of an impossible. He's shown me numerous of times. And to also understand that he works in the intricacies, like, you know, as Pep will say, you know, the inverted fullback and all that stuff, innit? Like he works in like the times and the, you know, even when you're sad, bro, like, and when you're upset, you're down, He's working.
He's working.
I'm saying he's working. Like when you're weak, as Squared said, His grace abounds. That's why you're really strong, because you can boast in the power of Christ. So
it's literally like a pep team, bro. Like you see the small passes. You think, where's this going?
Where's this going?
Next thing you know, it's a goal.
It's a goal, bro.
Yeah, it's them
You know what I'm
small
saying?
changes.
So that's what I say. More for me, it was a year of learning, a year of dependency, and a year of learning.
Learning. Where's Jeff?
Yeah.
Was it learning or teaching?
No,
was it teaching?
Teaching. Nah, it was a year of learning. You said learning.
Yeah, learning.
Yeah, you said learning.
Learning, teaching.
A year of learning, bro.
Nah,
You learning. What about you?
Like, you know, I think for me, my one, I can't really put a proper pin on it. The way I like to just summarize it, I think it goes back to, I think it's actually probably my favorite verse now, that Isaiah 55:8. You know, like God's ways are greater than my ways, and I always understood what that verse is in plain sight, but actually experiencing it
it's different.
It's so different. Like this year, I think it's been a year whereby I've appreciated more so the journey rather than the end result more. And I feel like some of the trials and tribulations that I went through this year have made a lot of characteristics in me finally evolve into like different things that I never thought I had. Like this year, God has shown me resilience in certain seasons. He's shown me confidence in certain seasons. He's shown me, you know, he's humbled me in certain seasons, because there's been times, especially throughout last year, where I thought, you know what, I could do this myself. Like, God, nothing's moving. Let me just shift you out, and I could try and do it myself, and try and, as if, you know, go one-on-one with God, as if like, you know, but it sounds ludicrous, but from the way my actions were.
Hey, E.T.'s always posting him in that.
Shout CT.
Like, it sounds mad, did it? But I think from the way my actions were, it kind of showed that. And I feel like the way this year kind of unfolded, there were very good parts that came at the end of it. But if it came sooner, I would have appreciated it more, or it would have been, it would have helped me in a trajectory onto, let's say, for it's the 2024s or 2025s or forever long that, you know, God has me on this earth for. And I feel like this was the year where I've actually realised that. And the way it is, my year was kind of split into, it was kind of weird, because from the start of last year till September, it was more so a sense of, I had goals, but I was still coasting. There was a sense of, as Carl was saying, laziness, whereby I weren't reaching no potential, but I was still doing what I had to do, still able to do the so-called norm. You know, but when it came to a September period, I remember I did a fast, and the fast was, you know, I just said, God, as I said, you know, your ways are greater than my ways. Let's just see how it goes. And I could just see God saying, he told me from that September until now, he said, it's got to be tough. From now until the end of the year, it's going to be tough, but hang on to me. And it was probably around that September to November period, one of the toughest, mentally toughest moments of my life. But if I didn't have that, or if I didn't dedicate that time to fast and to hear his voice, I wouldn't be prepared for that. I would have been cooked so much. Like, there were times where I'd be on the phone to the man them, I'd be like, man them, I can't lie, pride has just taken over, or man them this, man them that. I was just throwing it left, right, and centre, and it almost felt like I was getting cooked to the point whereby it's like, wow, I don't know how to get out of this. But when it came to, like, say for instance, certain achievements that were placed onto my life from the year, even like, you know, at the end of the year, it made me realise that, God, thank you, not for this, you know, but, you know, not for the result, but thank you for the progress. And I think the biggest takeaway I definitely learnt this year is that no one, especially whilst doing this Christian walk, no one's defined by the labels, the status, what people see you do during your Christian walk. You're defined by God. So that's the straight drop. And it took me time to realise that, because I thought I was defined by, say for instance, a job, that, if I get a job, you know, out of uni, get a job, I've got my career set, I've got things set. But that's what people perceive of me. But is that really how God defined me in that particular season? And I kind of realised the qualities such as, you know, resilience, confidence, you know, and even being proud, you know, of my achievements is what truly defines me. So I think this year has been a thing whereby, like, my qualities have now really started to show. And I think as well, one thing that I learned this year as well is that if you're part of something, take full ownership of it and try and give it your best. I remember I had a conversation with the boy Jeff in it, and it was just one conversation whereby we were doing something and I was slacking a bit, and he said, bro, just put in a little bit oomph, you know. And we had a talk about it, and I know he remembers this talk, and we're just talking about, you know, if God's placed you somewhere in your life, even if you're unsure in a certain season, still give it your all, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like we've even had that as like a podcast when it comes to like you know, meetings or talks with each other. It's like, we're part of this. God has ordained us with this particular opportunity to go and spread the gospel to so many listeners, so many people out there. Why do we give it our all? And I feel like in that September period until now, I started to realise bit by bit by bit that, say same way that we're placing this is the same way that God could take it away. And I read throughout the year the story of Job. You know, I think one of the first chapters, you know, of Job, where it talks about, I can't remember what the actual verse was, but it was talking about, you know, at any time, you know, God could take it away from us, but we need to understand that we need to be still, and those qualities that God has put us there will allow us to be successful in the things that He already has in us right now. And I feel like that's something I've definitely taken away. Like, in anything that God's placed, give it your all, whether it be your job, whether it be with your family, whether it be with even the podcast and etc. And it's like, it goes back to what Quad was saying, it's them minimal changes, you know, but cause a very big impact. And I'm starting to realize that more and more and more. But I'll say definitely this year, like, 2023, I'll never go on and reflect on 2023 for the achievements. I'll reflect on the journey, the qualities, the rut season, you know, and even the good times as well. Because one thing I realized is that when the good times came, there were times whereby I might be off pace, or maybe I'm not as humble as I thought. Maybe a bit of pride was coming in that, now that I've achieved this, I can now, you know, relax a bit. And I had to G-check myself for that. And I feel like this is the one thing I remember after, you know, things happen in 2023, is that the thing that we have to, you know, acknowledge is that we have to be patient for what the next season God is going to reveal to us. And I feel like that's one thing I'm currently learning right now, that levels of patience for the next thing. Because sometimes in our Christian journey, we just dive.
Into the next thing.
And it's like we get into something and it's like, wait a minute, I had New Year's resolutions where I wanted to do this, do that, but did I really take it to God? Was I really patient in the waiting season? And I feel like that's the very important thing, that, you know, people that are now going into the new year, they even have goals and they even may so achieve that goals, but are you patient enough to see what God's got for you next? And I feel like that's the main thing, that I've actually found it harder to actually achieve, to wait and be patient in the next season and actually go on and, you know, achieve goals. Even though it was rut and etc., like rut seasons and etc., I found it much more easier than right now in the season of patience, waiting for God to be like, cool, this is what I want you to do next. It's hard because it's like you don't want to just die.
You're too proactive, bro. Like sometimes
every time when it comes to New Year, everyone's trying to rush to do new things all the time. You're not. We always say the fundamentals, the foundation. You're not looking after that properly, if that makes sense. And even something that you touched on, which was talking about, like, wherever God has placed you, kind of thing, like using it well. Like, even for us, like, we're actually getting old, like not old, but we're getting older. And I deeped it. I feel like this year I deeped it. When you're older, without sounding like some business guy, your sphere of influence, or like your sphere of responsibility, like, it grows so much. You get what I mean? Like, because I was just deeping once, I don't know, I was just sitting out like, bro, like, when I was like in 2020, when I was like 20, bro, like, what I used to do was go home, go home, read my Bible, maybe spend a bit of time with the guys at uni, just go to bed. Like, that's it. But these days, like, I feel like this year I felt mad old. Like, this year I felt like
so much to do, bro.
There's so much to do, bro. Like, because even this morning I was reading about in Colossians 1, was talking about.
That's what I love that verse. So I love it, bro. I've been talking about that verse the whole week, bro. Last week,
it's such a good verse. I'll read it out, so just so you get for some context. So Colossians 1:9 I'll just read 1:9 to 10. For this reason, we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you and to ask that you may be filled with the knowledge of His will in all wisdom and spiritual understanding, that you may walk worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing Him, being fruitful in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of God. And it was just that bit about being fruitful in every good work. I was doing this plan by the boy David Guzik, who's Enduring Word, the guy. So he has a plan. And it's about praise of Paul, and that's one of the first prayers. And it's just talking about fruitful in every good work. And then the devotional was talking about how, like, every good work is like the whole kind of area of your life, your family, finances, obviously your spiritual life with God. But I feel like sometimes, for me, even like when we think about good work or like being fruitful, we just think about in our relationship with God, spiritual.
Just spiritual. But
now I realized, like, this year was
got to steward everything.
Got to do everything, bro. Like, I think this year is a year where I started to learn that more, not master it, but learn it more. Like, making sure I'm fruitful in my family, the way I'm checking on my siblings, praying for my parents, stuff like that. Fruitful in my relationship, giving it to God, having those proper conversations, looking after the woman that God has brought me. Do you get what I mean? But like, in all seriousness, like, these areas, like managing. Kids,
juvie.
just juvie. But managing all of these things properly, like, because, like, you're a man, when you're growing and you're becoming a man, like, you're a man of all responsibilities. Do you get what I mean? And, like, yes, it starts with God, like, obviously stewarding your relationship with God well, because your relationship with God is something you do have to steward as well.
Yeah.
But if you're stewarding your relationship with God, but you neglect your family, I think Paul says in 1 Timothy 3, like, you're worse than an unbeliever, something like that. Like, if you don't look after your family, you're worse than an unbeliever. Like, if you're stewarding your relationship with God and you're not stewarding your finances well, which was me last year, you're not serious as well.
Serious,
do you get what I mean? Like, so
you're stewarding your relationship with God, you're lazy, bro.
do you get what I mean? Like, you're not serious. And I feel like for us in general, like, I feel like as we're growing up as men of God, like, there's so many things that now we have our hands in, like, it's not just spiritual life, it's not just the pod. You know, it's our personal, it's our relationships, our family, it's our job now.
Education,
everything. Like, a lot of us are graduated now, so now jobs, now it's finances, you're getting a salary, having to manage that well. Like, there's so many things that your life looks so different now when you're entering manhood. I know manhood doesn't start.
Then when we first started the pod, bro. When we first started the pod, juvies, bro. Like, we just go up studio, go home, Bagel King, calm. Now,
I can't, bro.
I'm finishing this.
I'm thinking about payment, bro.
I got things I gotta do, bro.
That's why I feel like a year, like, even though at the beginning I was saying, not that I was saying a new year isn't important, but I was saying like a new year it's just another year. But I feel like now we're like at this age and stage of life, in a year, things change so quickly, bro. Like, things change so quickly. Like you said, especially when we were in uni and younger, I don't know, like, let's say from like 2019 to 2020 wasn't much, like, let's just scrapping COVID. I'm talking about, like, just in terms of, like, looking at how life looks and everything. It didn't feel much different because you're still in that kind of bubble, especially first year to second year. I know second year counts and stuff like that, but first year, second year, like, you still feel young a bit. Do you get what I mean? You're still going Midlands trips, still linking out the man them, bit of jambaz here and there. Like, you feel like you're obviously every year is different, but there's still a lot that's the same. But for me personally, anyway, I've experienced, like, 2022 to 2023. Huge jump. By God's grace, crazy. 2023, 2024 will probably be another
huge
jump. 2023 to 2024, will be another huge jump. 2024 to 25, another huge jump, because things just, your life is deep now. Marriage, kids, house.
Yo,
it's insane, bro.
We will be there though, God willing.
Nah, literally, don't say a word. God willing, man. God willing.
Yeah, no, that was good. Like, it's just good to reflect. You know, it's good to set goals, your vision boards and that. Again, it's good to do all of this stuff, but in all of this stuff, make sure that you're committed to the right person, which is God, number one. And then when you've committed it to God, steward it properly as well. Make sure that you work. Make sure that you're consistent. Make sure that you focus. Make sure that, you know, you discipline yourselves, because at the end of the day, you can say all of these things, but if you don't actually put in the work,
you're not live.
Nothing happens, bro.
So before we go, 3 words that you're taking on to 2024.
Focus, discipline, consistency.
Discipline, boldness / courage, and do I have a third? I just list those 2. Discipline, boldness. Yeah, I don't know if I think of a third one.
I think my one is confidence, peace, and resilience.
Calm.
But I'll take that.
And on that note, we're out.
2024.